So, what's the biggest headline from his first day?
Well, he just pardoned nearly all of the 1,600 people charged in connection with the Yonder 6 Capitol riot. That's huge.
Wow, that's incredible. Didn't he also sign a bunch of executive orders?
Yeah, he signed dozens. For instance, he's withdrawn the US from the Paris Climate Agreement and the World Health Organization again.
Wait, so we're no longer part of the WHO or the Paris Agreement?
Exactly. It's like we're stepping back from global collaboration.
Right.
He's also frozen most federal hiring and halted new federal rulemaking.
That seems like a lot to tackle on day one. But back to the pardons, what does that mean for those who were convicted for Yonder 6?
Well, many are being released immediately.
Oh,
There were even celebrations outside the DC jail where some of them were held.
interesting. But isn't there concern that pardoning them undermines the justice system?
Absolutely. And several Democratic leaders have called it an outrageous insult to the justice system. They argue it disrespects law enforcement officers who were harmed that day.
I can see that point. But from Trump's perspective, he's been calling them hostages of an unfair system, right?
Exactly. He's maintained that they were treated unfairly, and this is his way of making it right.
I see.
It's definitely a controversial move.
No kidding. What about TikTok? I heard he signed an order about that too.
Yes, he stalled the federal ban on TikTok for 75 days.
Really?
He wants his administration to determine the appropriate course forward.
So TikTok gets a temporary reprieve. That's interesting.
Exactly. And then there's immigration. He's declared a national emergency at the southern border and ordered the military to seal it. He's involving the military now.
Isn't that a big step, using the military for border enforcement?
It is, and it raises legal questions about the Posse Comitatus Act, which limits military involvement in domestic law enforcement. But he's pushing forward anyway.
That's going to face some challenges, I'm sure.
Definitely. And he's also suspended the refugee resettlement program and ended a program that allowed migrants from 4 nations into the US. So immigration is a big focus for him.
Seems like he's reversing a lot of Biden's policies.
Exactly. He's also gutted racial equity policies and protections for transgender people.
That's concerning.
He's ordered agencies to recognize only a biological binary definition of sex.
So that affects protections for LGBTQ individuals?
Yes, and it also rolls back diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in the federal government. It's a significant policy shift.
I have to say, I'm not sure that's a step in the right direction.
That's fair. There's a lot of debate about these changes.
Yeah.
It's definitely stirring up strong reactions on both sides.
What about the international front? Any news there?
Well, he's planning to impose tariffs on Canadian goods, and Canada's finance minister responded that they're ready to respond to any scenario.
Oh boy.
Trade tensions might be heating up again.
Seems like we're heading back to the days of trade wars.
It appears so. He's also undermined Biden's international tax deal.
Really?
He's directed his administration to tell the OECD that the agreement has no force in the US without an act of Congress.
That's going to have repercussions on multinational corporations, isn't it?
Yes. Though since Congress didn't enact the necessary changes, it might not have immediate impact.
True.
But it signals a shift in international tax cooperation.
So, in summary, Trump's first day back is packed with major policy reversals and controversial moves.
Absolutely. It's like he's trying to undo as much of Biden's legacy as possible right out of the gate.
Exactly.
It'll be interesting to see how this all unfolds.
Definitely. We'll have to keep a close eye on the developments.
For sure. Well, that's all the time we have today. Thanks for the great discussion.
Thank you. Looking forward to our next chat.